Okay, let's take a look at modifying dictionaries. Oh, sorry, methods in dictionaries. And so dictionaries has some methods that we can use. Some rather useful ones. So let's say you have, and I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to use a new HRank. And I already have them written down somewhere, but Canada is a 9. United Arab Emirates, UAE is 21. And in Brazil is 32. Does that look right? Looks right to me. Okay, so this is a new set of HRanks. And instead of printing them on a single line, what if I want to print them like a table? Let's say I want to print Canada, a dash, and the rank, and then UAE, and then a dash, and then the rank, and then Brazil, and then a dash, and then the rank. So it's not 100% aligned like a nice table, and we could figure out how to do formatting, but that's not the important part of this class. So to do this, we need some way to access the key value pairs in the dictionary, one element at a time. And there's actually, well, let's just see what a for each loop looks like. And so by default, in a for each loop, because remember, HRank really is a collection of stuff, just like a list is a collection of stuff and a tuple is a collection of stuff. We can iterate over all the elements just by putting in the dictionary. However, it defaulted to printing out the keys. There's no sign of the values. So let's think about how could I use that? Well, I could do for each key in HRank, print the key, and then I can print out, remember, this is going to return the value, except remember our value is a number. And because our value is a number, obviously that didn't work. But if we go back and actually put a string around it, now it'll concatenate them, but obviously this isn't the format we wanted. So let's go back one more time and concatenate a dash in between. And now we got the format we're looking for. So here we're getting the key directly from the dictionary, and then we're doing a lookup and getting the value as if we normally would in a dictionary. This is not the only way to access dictionaries. This is just one way. And I think that's an important image to save for later. So that's one way of doing it. There are other methods, though, that we can use to access dictionaries. And so by default, though, is when you iterate over a dictionary, you get the keys in each iteration. But these other methods in there, so we have HRank, and we can do HRank.keys. Keys is a method. And what is it going to return? A list of all the keys. Ignore that DICT_keys thing for now, but it returns a list of the keys. HRank.values returns a list of all the values. And the last one is HRank.items. That method gives us a list of all of the items. And what is it giving us them items as? That's a tuple. See the parentheses? 2 items in the parentheses? That's a tuple. So .items actually returns the tuple. So those are some very helpful methods for us. It didn't solve our problem yet, but it's given us a way of potentially solving that problem. So how could we use that? We have these three different methods, and we can use all of them inside of a for each loop to access elements in a dictionary. Look at this one here. Now, up till now, we've only had one variable inside of a for each loop, but now I'm putting in two variables, k comma v. And why am I putting in two variables? It's because I'm iterating over items. And all the items are tuples with two things in it. And so each time through the loop, it's going to take the value of one of the tuples and fill in kv. So now we could print k dash, and we just turn v into a string value. And that actually worked to do the same thing, except now I didn't have to call HRank key. I already had the key. Or sorry, to get the value, I didn't have to call HRank key. I already had the value as well as the key. So that's one way of doing it. Let's actually look at this tuple or this item. If we actually wanted the tuple, we can get the tuple directly. That gives us the tuple directly. And we can print out the tuple, and now we can actually access the tuples. So one other way for item in HRank.items, print, we know how to access the tuple. We just access the individual components of the tuple. I mean, we had plenty of experience doing that with colors, right? All the image manipulation that we were doing with tuples kind of taught us that we can access the individual components of a tuple directly. So both of these are using items, and both of them allow us to grab the tuple and access the tuple in two different ways, but they really do the same thing. And so we have multiple ways here. We have items, we have keys, we have values, we have multiple ways to accessing everything to get our key value pairs one at a time. Any questions on those? There's one more thing I want to show you. Let me see if there's any questions on those first. Okay, let's pull up HRank. Now, how do I check to see if something is inside of a dictionary? Remember the keyword in? That returned true if it existed. And if it doesn't exist, because remember, I don't have USA in this one, it's going to return false. Remember that if I try to use, and let's get HRank, a string of HRank. I try to get the value of a key that doesn't exist, I get an error. So how do I actually print this out? If I don't want an error, I just want it to say something else. If it doesn't exist, I shouldn't actually use it, because you know it's going to cause an error. If it exists, I can use it. So if it's in there, let's see, now I can do it because it's in there. If it's not in there, I can just say something like that. And since it's not in there, I could say no data for USA. Let's quickly add USA. I think it was 19. And now it prints it out. So we can check first so we don't crash. That's an important concept right there, where you want to check. In fact, let's do that. In addition to in, there's also not in. So just like you can check if something is in a list or not in a list, you can also check if something is in a dictionary or not in a dictionary. Then I did these two versions as well. And so, like I said, there's also, if I want to know if India not in HRank, then it's going to return true. So we can use that as well, which is very similar to how it works with the list, right? I think the list did almost have the exact same syntax, in and not in.